right, Ruined Leon. I've been saving this one for. I've been holding on to this one for way too long. This is a wild situation, and there was so much drama happening in the freaking community that we just freaking blew past. I feel like everybody blew past this.
There are these rare moments where I'm sitting here and I see something and it raises my eyebrow and I think I could make a video about this and give my thoughts and opinions. And while I'm reading and making sure I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's, one of you leaves a comment talking about the same thing that I'm about to do a video on. And that's what this woman did. And this is not to bully you. Don't think I'm out here bullying you. I'm saying get out of my head and stop watching what I'm doing.
Get out of my head, man.
Has been
get out of my head
on this channel for a little bit.
Y'all see smiling friends? Get out of my head, man.
You had the video I made a month ago in regards to people getting mad that a UFC fighter dared to adopt black children and try to raise them right as upstanding future citizens in the world. Then you got a couple of months ago, if not a year ago, when we had two gay men adopt children and they decided to do the unthinkable, which is the bump and grind on children. And we all agreed that that was weird. And the one about
I don't
the
even
UFC
know about that one.
is a little bit normal because, hey, adopting children and raising them right, perfectly fine. But there's another element to this. It's when people somehow get custody of children and instead of loving and caring for them and making sure that they grow up to be upstanding citizens to learn the values of respect, dignity, and strong core beliefs, they lock them in fucking barnyards and make them do slave work, apparently. A sizzle couple accused of allegedly locking children up in a barn and forcing them to do work are back behind bars and on bond that's more than double
hold on. There's so much to this already. What do you mean they're back behind bars? How? They've already been behind bars for something else? Why are they allowed to adopt children if they've already been behind bars?
Already had been given, now set at $500,000. Donald Ray Lance and Janine K.
Or is that after the case?
Terrible names, appeared in Kanawha County Court Tuesday pleading not guilty to over a dozen new charges against them, including human trafficking of a minor child, use of a minor child in forced labor, and child neglect, creating substantial risk of serious bodily injury or death. Kanawha County Circuit Judge Mary Clain Akers, great name, said she believed the couple's previous bond of $200,000 wasn't enough.
You know what? I feel like I agree. I agree with Judge Mary Claire on this. Phenomenal name, by the way. Mary Claire. Okay, cool. 200,000 just doesn't seem quite enough. Honestly.
How much you have to piss off a judge to where they look at a $200,000 bond and say, give them a little bit more.
Investigators believe they targeted these children specifically from a shelter because they were black, forcing them to work as slaves.
Being charged with a felony, child neglect, creating risk of injury.
The two children were being locked in a barn at this home on Cheyenne Lane in Sissonville.
They weren't able to locate any.
It's not even a big red barn like the ones in cartoons.
Parental figures or anybody around the residence or the barn, and started having a conversation with two children that were inside the barn.
Deputies eventually forced their way into the barn.
That's how they found them?
Where they said they found a 16-year-old girl and 14-year-old boy inside a 20 by 14-foot room. Investigators say the teens had no way to get out of the shed, with no running water, no bathroom. The girl told deputies their parents had brought them food around 6 o'clock that morning, but said her and her brother weren't allowed in the house and were locked in the barn for long periods every day. Eyewitness News spoke to neighbors who were afraid to go on camera, but claimed multiple families called police about the children's
Where are the social workers in this case? What the frick?
Safety several times, and they are thankful they are now safe.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty bad case. I mean, it's you know, in
any
type of situation like this, it's not really comparable. A horrific condition like it's just not how you want or how you would even expect children to be raised or been taken care of.
Along with human trafficking and neglect with serious risk of bodily injuries or death, I don't find the bond to be sufficient, she said. Lance and Whitefeather were first arrested last October after a wellness check led to the discovery of two of the couple's 5 adopted children living in deplorable conditions locked in a shed.
So they had more? They had 5 adopted children total. 2 of them were in the shed.
the Sissonville property in Sheehan Lane. The indictment also alleges human rights violations, alleging the adopted children who were black were specifically targeted by the couple and forced to work because of their race. Akers said it's an indictment she's never seen before during her time as a judge. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor, human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race, and they were used basically as slaves from what the indictment alleges. This comes after
so that means that they should also be charged for, like, slavery laws, yeah.
Concerns from the Kanawha County prosecutors that their original cash bonds were obtained through trafficking profits after the couple was able to acquire
would that be considered human trafficking?
in bond money for their release in jail in February. Kanawha County Assistant
yeah,
Prosecuting Attorney Christopher, last name I can't pronounce, but I'm gonna say it's a great name anyway, had called the money posted to secure the couple's release.
Krivoniak.
Contraband directly or indirectly used or intended for use to violate human trafficking laws. After their arrest last fall, Lance and Whitefeather had indicated that they had no income or assets, bringing into question where they had acquired the money for the bond from. Last name I still can't pronounce stated that the couple sold an 80-acre ranch in Washington for $725,000 on February 2nd. Whitefeather's brother, Marcus Hughes, terrible name just by association, posted two $200,000 bonds to release the couple from the South Central Regional Jail 3 days later. On March 28th, last name I still can't
So now they're gonna hit up for another 500K? Good.
pronounce, noted that they had sold the Sissonville home where they were arrested for $295,000. Prosecutors said that even if their bond money came from a legitimate source, its intended use was human trafficking and forced labor. In a previous statement made to the court, Whitefeather alleged that the barn where the 14 and 16-year-old were found locked in was a teenage clubhouse and that they were not locked inside.
Shut up.
Even though, if based on what the investigators found, they couldn't get out because there was no lock on the inside. So basically, they were trapped in there. Neighbors also reported that the children were forced to perform farm labor and were not permitted inside the residence. Deputies said that they found two teenagers locked in the shed with only a small RV porta potty and no running water. The 16-year-old girl told deputies that they had been locked in the building for approximately 12 hours and were last given food around 6 a.m. The children also said that they were forced to sleep on the concrete floor of the shed without any mattresses or padding. Court documents stated that the 14-year-old boy had open sores on his bare feet and that the children were dirty and smelled of bodily odor. I think, as much as we all disagree on a lot of things, we could all come together and say it on the count of three. Are you ready? One word, 4 letters, jail! Because what the fuck are y'all doing? And how in the fuck do y'all think at any point no neighbor is gonna just look over the fence and say, I don't really like what's going on over here. Oh my God, what are they doing with those kids? Are they locking them in a barn and not letting them out? Well, I don't think they've come out of that barn at all. Let me check my Ring camera and see.
Like they were like one step away from like actually planting cotton freaking like bushes. Cotton flowers, and like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they were literally just one step away from it. Like, you thought, how the freak did this?
What the fuck are y'all doing? You don't deserve to have kids. And listen, no matter if they were looking for kids based on their race or they had some backdoor deal to be the guardians of these children because of some outside source that didn't work out, no matter the way they got those kids, keep them now far the fuck away from them and keep them way away from anything that got to do with a field or a barn, because that's gonna be some traumatizing shit that they gotta deal with for the rest of their lives. And I would just like to make a personal message to Satan himself. I know we don't really see eye to eye, but could you do me one favor? Could you like come up and grab these two by the anus and then stretch their bodies
just take
out,
them with you.
As you
we don't
drag
need
their
them.
bodies to hell, make sure you piss on them just a little bit, because that's where they need to go.
Just for us.
That's where
that
they
would
need
just
to
as
be.
a favor.
That's where they need to stay, because ain't no way under the sun can you sit here and make a great excuse, maybe about discipline, maybe about setting a great example, where you're locking children in a barn for hours and not feeding them. And just as the side,
to the point where they had open sores on his feet.
This much just to get away from some strict parents. That's a pretty big fucking lie that you would have to get the cops in on because they found them in a dirty ass state. I would just like to say one more thing, maybe two more things before we get up out of here. It is very much a sick thing when people who are depraved in the mind are seeking to bring children into this world, whether it be through the bump and grind or through the adoption process.
Through the bump and grind.
And I wish, and maybe it's out there and some people are able to sneak around it just a little bit more. I wish there was stronger indications or at least background checks or at least follow-up meetings and counseling.
No, this was definitely a failure on multiple levels
for the adopted children, just to make sure that everything,
like, whoever the social worker is for those children needs to also be held accountable, actually, though, because they're supposed to be doing wellness checks.
He's on the up and up, and who knows, I've never dealt with the adoption process a day in my life,
or at least have some kind of communication,
and they just got to beef it up a little bit more. But I would hope in the future we
for
make sure we
shit,
dot our I's and we cross our T's about individuals making sure that they're actually taking care of these children and not locking them in barns for reason that they might find justifiable.
How long have they had these children?
This is the second thing. If you look at this and you try to say, see, this is why white people should not be adopting black children, I hope the next thing out of your mouth is, I'm going to go adopt some children so that I can take them away from the adoption center. Because if you're not doing that, what the
fair.
are you going to do
fair.
to solve that problem?
Fair, though.
Stop fucking without a condom, or if you do have kids, don't give them up, because I understand circumstances may not be beneficial. I understand that maybe you don't have the means to provide good life for a child or even a basic life for the child, which would bring me back to the first point, which is don't bump and grind to create life. We can't do that because much as people want to make it seem like we as the young 20-year-olds should be having coitus all the time and pumping out babies, it's a little bit difficult to do that if you ain't got things put in place to make sure that you and those children are okay. But
them kids expensive.
Anything where, see, this is what happens when you let white people adopt them, because I need to bring up the UFC fighter who's not black, who wants to help and provide for children that he has the ability to adopt. So you can't say it's everybody who ain't black. You can't say it's the depraved motherfuckers who want to go out and harm children, no matter if they straight, no matter if they gay. It's weird. Lock them all the fuck up. Subscribe to the channel. I almost died just now, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Brother, yeah, no, that was about as like insane as it gets. What the? Who the frick? Who? Like the agency in charge of that adoption process needs to be investigated. Frankly, that is nuts, dude. I'm gonna drop this video on the Discord. Please, all of y'all, check that out. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today. I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi. That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!